Hi, it's Paul here from Shine Water Glass, and today's video is about making these open hearts. We've a lot to cover, so let's get started. Now, in normal kilns, electric kilns and gas kilns, you can get a mould that has got a hollow in it. But we are going to use two cookie cutters. And in order to stop the glass from sticking to the cookie cutters, we need to line it with some thin fire paper, which I've got here. Now I buy my thin fire in strips like this. It's quite cheap, comes quite cheaply in strips, particularly for this purpose. But then I also buy it in squares, pre-cut. Just because it's, for me, it works out cheaper than buying a roll and cutting it myself. Right, so let's get going and lining our cookie cutters. So this one we're going to have to line around the outside because it's going in the middle, and this one we're going to have to line on the inside. So let's get started with lining the cookie cutters. First thing I do, I bring over a little tile, and I put a little blob of glue on there. And what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to take this, let's not have that in the hand at the same time, and fold it in half like that. That will then allow me to cover most of this, make life a lot easier. So let's cover the inside of the cookie cutter with our glue. Some people like to paste the thin fire paper. I don't. I prefer to paste the cookie mould. What we need to do is we need to make sure that it comes all the way down to the bottom, otherwise you get that tiny little area and it will stick. So there we go, we can see that that's sticking nicely. So we'll put that to one side and let that dry. Right, now we do the outside for this one while we're waiting. Okay, so now we've done that bit, and now get that off of there. Not going to make much difference because it will burn off in the kiln, and we'll leave that to dry for the moment, and then we'll come back once they're dried. So we've got the dry bit now. So what we're going to do is we're going to run the glue around the inside of here. We're going to try and overlap that bit there and that bit there, so that this is the tricky bit. And then we smooth it and crease it as best as we possibly can. There we go. The thing to make sure is that we smooth it so that we've got no gaps between the paper all the way around. So now we're going to set that to one side and we'll move on to our small one. So we've still got a little bit of glue left on here. Not a lot, mind you, so let's put a little bit more. Just a little tiny drop. And the glue I'm using here is just ordinary school glue, PVA. Right, now what we're going to need to do here, because this is a tricky bit, is we're going to need to hold that in place with a little peg there like that. And another one there like that. And we'll come back and do this final little bit. Right. Got another little piece of paper there. What we need to do now is make sure we've got enough glue, because we're going to have to overlap again. Right. Seriously need to make sure you work it into that middle crease there like that, and then pop that on there like that, and we'll leave that to dry. Okay, so now it's nice and dry. We can take the coverings off, but what we do need to do is we need to make sure we're nice and central on this page, because what we've got here is a sheet of thin fire on our large kiln platform, and then we're going to glue this in place. Okay, so now we're going to take a little bit of the glue and run it along the edge of our cutter and place it approximately central. Push down a little bit, and then position this one in a similar fashion, and we'll just mark that up with a pencil, because that looks pretty straight on to me. And then we do the same with the glue. And this of course is optional, this gluing of the cutters onto the base, but it does help to stop it from wandering too far. Okay, and that looks about right. There we go. And now we'll leave that to dry for a little while, and then we'll fill in this outer edge with our glass. Right. Please do excuse the noise in the background if you can hear it. There is a Spitfire currently doing all manner of stuff above my house. Right, so we've got a piece in here, and then we need to fill this bit in here. So this is like a clear backing we're laying down at the moment. Then we're going to just fill that up with enough that it will make a 6mm thick heart. I don't know whether you can see or not, that's got a reasonable covering of clear glass in there. I don't normally use clear glass for these things, but it's basically what I have to hand, so I can quickly just do some. As you can see, I normally use various different bits of coloured glass when I'm making these. But I'm going to use frit today to have a crack at something different. I've got some coarse red opal frit. This one is, yeah, just red opal. So now I'll just move some of this around a little bit, just to a few little bits have gone in the middle there, so let's have them out. I'm kind of hoping this turns out well. Right, I think that may well do the job. I did a green one the other day and it didn't fill in this little bit here, so I'm kind of keen to make sure we get plenty in there, otherwise the inner point of the heart won't be there. Oop. Right, I think, oop. I think we're pretty much done here. I'll overfill it. Right. So, let's see how this fares in the kiln. Just because I can't just leave it alone, I'm going to pop some cloud reactive in here. Just a little bit. Oop. That'll do. Okay, so our large microwave kiln is in the centre of our microwave, and yeah, controversially, I use this. Some people don't, but I do. So let's shut the kiln. We're already on medium, and we do the first road of 6 minutes. And this is my firing schedule. Your firing schedule may be different based on your microwave, so you'll need to experiment with that, but this is what works for me. I think we're not far off. I think probably just another 3 minutes, I think, and we should be there. Okay, so it's nice and cool now, so we can take the lid off. I know it's nice and cool because it's the next day. So let's have a look close up. And there we go. Nice and easy to come out, or at least the outside one is. The inside one takes a little more encouragement. Come on, there we go. Let's just get some light on the subject. And here's a few more that I've made. You can see the green one, I made a bit of a boo-boo and didn't put enough frit in to define the tip inside. So we could add some cord to make it into a necklace, or perhaps we could turn it into a nice little photo frame for someone you love. That's all for now. I'll see you next time.